Welcome back. We're discussing the EV outlook for 2023. We've got Tushar Garg of Blue Smart Mobility, Ravneet Fokela, Chief Business Officer at Ather Energy, Ashish Kundra, Delhi's Transport Secretary, and Sri Kumar Krishnamurthy, Vice President at ICRA. Mr. Kundra, if I can come to you once again, give us a sense of the government acquisition of electric vehicles in Delhi, whether it is in the government fleet and also in public transport. What kind of acquisitions or the quantum of acquisitions can we expect in the next calendar year?
Yeah, so public transport is an area of very high focus for us. And as we speak, we have already 300 electric buses in a fleet size of 7,300. We have placed firm orders to Tata Motors for 1,500 electric buses. All of them will be inducted in the coming year. As we speak, there is a bid which is under evaluation. Hopefully, it will be open next week for 4,000 electric buses to be inducted over the next 1.5 years. So net, we have set for ourselves a target that by 2025, 80% of our bus fleet on a fleet size of about 11,000 will be electric, which I think will be the largest in the world. The current global leader is Shenzhen, but we are set to cross that, hopefully, if all these bids materialize. And as far as government fleets are concerned, so far the instructions are that the hired vehicles which we have in our fleets will be electric, and those processes are under. Various departments have procured electric vehicles, but we are going to intensify it in the coming year, and hopefully new purchases will also move to electric, except in emergency and enforcement kind of jobs.
Right. Mr. Kundra, I'd also like to ask you about the question of subsidies. First of all, how much of your scheme, the Delhi EV scheme, subsidy budget has been exhausted? How much is still left? And do you plan to renew this EV subsidy scheme under the Delhi government?
Yeah, so far we have disbursed about 120 crores of subsidy, and we have budgets which are in the order of about 75 to 100 crores annually for disbursement of subsidy. This is over and above the subsidy which we'll be giving out to the buses, because large chunk of buses were subsidized through the FAME scheme, which is now kind of expired. So the next tranche of buses which we will be ordering, those will be subsidized on the same terms as the FAME subsidy given by Government of India. So that's another pot of money which will cater to that.
Right. Let me get in, Ravneet, at this point. If I were to ask you how you would like to utilize your capex in 2023, how would you describe that?
See, two large chunks of our investments are behind just expansion from a front end business sales perspective. We continue expanding our distribution. Today we're in about 75 cities. We'll be in about 95 in the next couple of months, going to about 250 in the next financial year. So that phase of growth comes with distribution expansion, more front end investments, marketing, sales, workforce, etc. So there's one chunk that's sitting behind just growth. The other one is we continue investing behind R&D and new product development. While we do have a platform basis which we have the current two products, but given the pace of change of the market and just the exciting phase that we find ourselves in, we believe there is a space to get a lot more products in, and to service that requirement, we continue investing behind R&D and new product launches. So between these two are fairly large chunks of investments. The third one is capacity expansion. Today we're sitting at about 4 lakh capacity across two plants that we have. We are already in the market for a third plant, which will add 1 million units capacity over and above the 400,000 that we currently have capacity for, to take it to 1.4 million. So essentially, if you join all the dots together, all investments are going behind servicing the rapid growth that we're expecting.
Right. And just a follow-up question. Currently, according to industry estimates, the electric two-wheelers are 15% of the two-wheeler market right now. How much could this increase to in 2023, Ravneet? I'm asking about an overall electric two-wheeler picture.
Yeah, so I think two-wheeler is on a very strong growth momentum. And that's what's between two-wheelers and three-wheelers, that's where the high growths are coming from. This number, which is 15%, used to be about 4.5% about 12 months back. So it's not inconceivable that we exit this financial year, which is 4 months away now, 3 months away now, with anything between 18 to 20% penetration for e-scooters in the category.
Okay. So 18 to 20% is what you're expecting. Coming to you, Tushar, in terms of getting that funding, you gave us some very strong growth numbers that you have in mind. Give us a sense of how would you be securing the funding? Are you close to sealing a certain funding round with an investor? Any plans for an IPO in the next few years?
So, Parikshit, so funnily, because thanks to EV, our cost structures aren't very aggressive, by which virtue it means our cash requirements have not been as deep as what our competition has historically been ailed with. So, by which virtue, I think we've been very lucky. Also at the same time as a business, been very frugal with our cash. At the same time, I think on the fundraising for the year coming to all of us, I believe what I can share with you is that compared to if 2022 is going to be a base case, BlueSmart is looking to raise a very substantial, a very large round, and by 2022 standards, that might be the largest sum of capital raised by any company in India, is what I can share with you. A lot of climate-focused investment is chasing businesses like us, and India is going to be at the center point of those investments, and we shouldn't be very far away from closing in a large fundraise round for ourselves at BlueSmart. You mentioned about IPO. I would say we aren't in any hurry to do so. But at the same time, I think IPO is something that we would love to do as a business when we are ready for it, right? And as I said, not in a hurry. 2023 might not be the year for us to be going for a public listing, but never say never.
All right. Shri Kumar, to speak about the PLI schemes, both the PLI schemes for vehicles, for automobile components, and also the ACC PLI scheme, probably the most crucial of the lot. All of this will come into effect from 1st of April next fiscal. How do you think this will help the EV industry? Will the prices come down if cell manufacturing begins in India?
ACC PLI scheme, this is the outlay is roughly around 1800 crore of rupees, and the idea is to develop the futuristic technologies and also localizing the battery manufacturing and EV supply chain. While these are the primary schemes that the government had provided, but incrementally there were other policy measures also that supported electrification. The key ones being the state EV policies, which provided incremental incentives for say demand generation, charging ecosystem per se, and other policy measures also continue, like 100% FDI in EVs, taxation benefits on interest on the loans taken for purchase of EVs. There was a correction in the inverted duty structure, and also the GST. There was a correction on the battery pack. It continues because we do see notifications around the battery swapping policy, investments, further investments in the EV space. So all these are likely to support the manufacturing as well as the ecosystem, the development of an ecosystem wherein the localization is actually a prime mover. So should that happen the way the government is envisaging, obviously the prices should come down over the medium term.
All right. We've run out of time, but my final question to Mr. Kundra. Mr. Kundra, we believe that the FAME outlay of 10,000 crores would get exhausted next year. This is because of the large adoption or large acquisition of buses for public transport all across the country. Do you think the EV ecosystem is now strong enough to work without subsidies, or should subsidies for two-wheelers, three-wheelers, cars, and public transport continue, and also for charging infrastructure? What do you feel? I'm asking you about a central government level. What is your perspective? Do these subsidy schemes, the schemes such as the FAME scheme, need to continue?
I think the central government has given a lot of support in catalyzing the initial round of transition from ICE to EV. And I think states have also matched their top-ups with the purchase incentives. I think there are, after all, it's the same pot of money that you're talking about, and how you use it So the central government has moved from the FAME to PLI schemes, which are in a way supporting similar initiatives from a different direction. So I don't see that there is any slowdown in terms of support offered by the central government. The main thing is that there is an adequate buy-in of the states. There's a contrast I always draw between CNG adoption, which started 30 years ago, and the EV adoption. There is a competitive policy push from the states, and the rate of adoption is phenomenal across the country. I mean, let's remember that Delhi's EV policy was launched just about 2 years ago, and one of those years was a COVID year. And in spite of that, we have the numbers that we have. So I see it's a point of takeoff which is irreversible. And public transport, of course, is a big push. I mean, the National Electric Bus Program of 50,000 buses is certainly going to be a game changer in the way people move around in cities. So it's an irreversible
All
point,
right.
actually.
All right. So clearly, the state governments and their state level schemes will be driving EV adoption in the next few years. And there's competition among states as well. Tushar Garg, Ravneet Fokela, Ashish Kundra, Srikumar Krishnamurthy, thank you very much for joining us on this broadcast on how this year has been for electric vehicles and what 2023 has in store. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.